Welcome back to Geek Philosophy. My co-host Clay,
Hey.
Don here, and today we're going to do our movie review on Man and The Wasp.
Yeah.
So, y'all been hearing me say this all year. This was going to be the turkey, 3 strikes in a row from Marvel, and that does not include Deadpool, because this would be 4 strikes in a row if that was the case. But overall, I think it was a great movie. I think it's going to be a nice hit. It's Monday, so we should see some box office numbers start rolling in.
Yep.
I think it's probably going to take number 1 in the box office openings this week. I don't know if it's going to hit top 10 yet in
For
the
the
movie
year?
Summers.
Okay, for the summer.
For the summer yet. I think probably by the next 2 weeks it'll probably be top 10 in the movies.
Yeah, I think
for summer movies.
From what I saw online, I think they were estimating right around an $80 million opening weekend.
And that's not bad. I mean, we're still kind of used to these blockbusters that Marvel's been hitting, where they're like over 100 mil.
Sure, but I mean, this is still a big movie. It's
Yeah.
not massive like some of these others, but they did say, I know the numbers aren't completely finalized yet, but I did see that I think they have officially taken the number 1 movie spot, which I think was expected.
Mm-hmm.
But the numbers that I saw said that it was basically 20 in a row for Marvel now that they've taken the number 1 spot for the weekend. And I think they'll probably get right around that $80 million number. But,
So 80 million this week, probably be at like 120, 130 next week, and then we'll progressively go on and it'll be in the top 10 for summer movies. But let's get into it. Let's start off with the story. I think the story did not feel like a superhero story.
not at least not compared to what we've been getting.
Yeah, and we've been getting kind of and when I say that, it's not a bad thing. Because we've been getting a lot of the same tropes that we normally see in a superhero movie. We don't get that much in this one.
Yeah.
There's a couple tropes still, but overall story, this is a new, refreshing story. And FYI, this is a spoiler-free review, so we won't be going into any details, so you don't have to worry about watching this video and getting spoiled and then saying, "Curse you, Geek Philosophy!"
Right.
Nah, it's spoiler-free, and story was refreshing. There was no, I can go ahead and say, there is no end-of-the-world scenario in this movie.
No.
It's just a refreshing, it's almost like a chase movie, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first
cat and
one,
mouse.
yeah, it's much like the first one where you had, it's just an old school heist movie feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the grand scheme of things compared to other recent Marvel movies, especially, it's very straightforward. Kind of, it's enclosed basically all in San Francisco.
Yep.
It feels like a good old school Marvel movie. We don't always have to have an epic worldwide scale. That we had in Infinity War, that we had in Black Panther. Those are nice. I have a lot of fun with them. But I think this kind of brought it back home, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think what I liked is it stuck with its roots on the whole comedy aspect. Because let's face it, Ant-Man, if you look at the concept, it's a pretty ridiculous concept.
Yeah.
And they poke fun at their own concept and keep it light, which is very, very refreshing, especially after the last Marvel movie where people came out crying.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. But yeah, Ant-Man, they understand how ridiculous the idea of it is, and I think that's the only way you're going to have something translate from paper onto screen. And they did a great job with that in the first movie.
Yeah.
And it's a good amount of humor, too. I would even say it wasn't quite as over the top and kind of slapstick like Ragnarok was.
Yes.
But I think it was still. I think it was just as funny as Ragnarok.
I think it was funnier than Ragnarok because it know how to place its humor.
Yeah, it was. I guess it's just 2 different types of humor.
Yeah,
totally.
I think Ragnarok had just too much, and you can hear he's a fan of Ragnarok.
I am.
I am not.
to me, the humor in Ragnarok versus the humor in Ant-Man is kind of like trying to compare Conan O'Brien's humor with Stephen Colbert's humor on the late night shows. They're 2 totally different things. One is a way more slapstick than the other, but I enjoy them both.
Yeah. I do prefer one over the other.
Yeah.
So great time. Let's get into the cast. I think the cast overall did an amazing job. They knew their parts. They knew how to do it. Pretty much the whole group from last movie is back. including the minor characters.
Right.
So you get to see that new side of, not new side, but you see the convicts back. You get to see them do their sticks, and they do it well. What they do.
They filled out the characters a lot more. You have T.I.'s character, Michael Pena's character. I forget the other guy's name. He's been in quite a few different things. But it's
hilarious.
Yeah, they're there for the comic relief, but also they
add to the story though. It's weird. Like they are, they're supposed to be comic relief, but they still add to the story.
Definitely more so than the first movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Evangeline came out a little bit. Am I saying her name right?
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah, Evangeline Lilly came out more as a co-star versus a minor character in the last movie.
Absolutely.
I think she was a lot more upfront,
yeah.
And it was a refreshing take to see it. You're going to see a superhero introduced without that much of an origin story.
Yeah, I don't think you need much of them because they give you the backstory, they give you the origin over the first, over the two Ant-Man stories, but there's really not much that you need to dive into, for the Wasp. But I was excited to see that they had Ant-Man and the Wasp in the title. They get equal time, and in this movie they get totally equal time. I mean, this is just as much of a Wasp movie as it is Ant-Man. In some cases, you might even be able to argue more because both of their backstories and their families.
The purpose behind the movie, like what they strive to achieve, is more meaningful for the Wasp than it is Ant-Man.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's almost like you need to call this the Wasp and Ant-Man. Because she's a little bit more, even though they get equal screen time, you see she's a little bit more upfront in the screen.
Right.
And acting ability. I think she did an amazing job. And you get a couple new faces. We're not going to spoil anything, but you have Lawrence Fishburne playing Bill Foster, which in the comics is Goliath. You can kind of see the relationship between him and Hank Pym, which is great to see a little bit more into his past and other. It kind of opens up a new world, which I hope we get to see a little bit in that in Captain Marvel. That there were superheroes before Iron Man.
Yeah, they fill in that gap from the time that Captain America went into the ice to when presumably we'll see Captain Marvel, and really I guess the only thing that's done that so far is a little bit of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but mainly her name's escaped me now. Captain America's
Sharon Carter.
Yes. Yeah. Agent Carter. For people who saw that did a pretty good job of filling in some of the gaps, I guess, post Captain America.
Yeah.
But it was nice seeing how some things operate. You got a little hint. It doesn't go into too much detail. But
it's enough to be like, all right, let's mention it. It's important, but it's not too important, so we're not going to make some big deal out of this. It's a nice little Easter egg. And then let's go into graphics and so forth. I think graphics-wise, Marvel does what they do best in this.
You can't beat the CG.
You can't beat the money that's put behind this to invest in the CG and the animation. I think it was flawless to a degree. There was a couple timing issues for me, but that was in the editing really. But as far as CGI and so forth, it looked great. Yeah,
I think two things that really impressed me were, and again, no spoilers, just speaking in general terms, that they had quite a bit of work to do with some de-aging technology for some flashback scenes. And I think that really showed me how far this has come, because I'm a big Tron fan, and that's one of the things that they really started going full throttle on was 10 years ago when Tron Legacy came out, and they de-aged Jeff Bridges by 20 years or so. And that was almost spot on, but you get into that uncanny valley. We talk about like androids and robotics and computer-generated things, that things look creepy when they're so close to looking real, but something about it just isn't right. And that's one of the pitfalls that they have with Tron Legacy, because the voice acting, their lips moving didn't quite match up. It didn't look natural. But I think they've got that.
They kind of nailed it in this one.
This is pretty much
and that's perfect. Kind of a good sign, because we're going to go into Captain America. It is a timepiece where there's going to be some characters in the now that's going back, and that's going like almost 20 years.
with Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel was only 20 years, so I think this was like good experimenting for them, just to make sure they had, because we're gonna have Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, playing as he's in the 90s for
the entire
movie.
And I think Agent Coulson too is rumored to be coming back for that too.
Wow! So those are two characters that you need to make sure your technology is up on.
Right.
So.
And they proved a lot of that too with Robert Downey Jr. in was it Civil War, I think, when they did a couple of flashbacks.
Yeah, they did the whole scene, and it almost looked like Robert Downey was playing his character from Rodney Dangerfield Goes Back to School.
College. Back to school.
Back to school. So
yeah, it was pretty impressive. So the other thing that I thought was great was when you're looking at the when he's shrinking all the way down to what the how does he refer to it? Is it subatomic or
subatomic?
Yeah, when he's going all the way down to an incredibly tiny scale, I was afraid that they would get too close with some of the artwork, getting kind of trippy with things like how Doctor Strange portrayed things in different dimensions and all. And I think they made it their own unique thing. It was pretty cool the way they did it all. You get to see a couple of microorganisms too that are pretty fascinating things that you never really see on that scale. But I thought that they did that well. They did that well too, without kind of getting too close to some of the other crazy worlds.
And they didn't spend too much time on, which is great.
Right.
So overall, I definitely say we did not lose any brain cells watching this movie. Please check it out. I think it's definitely worth the time at the theater. It's a good time. I took my daughter, who's 3-year-old, and she was able to sit down and watch the whole thing. So it's kid friendly. Definitely a good movie. There are 2 after credit scenes, so
don't go anywhere.
Make sure you stay behind. Like, if you don't know there's after credit scenes on a Marvel movie, I'm gonna need you to do your research. We've been doing this for we've been doing this 10 years now.
Right.
10 years, you should know that after the movie, there's normally 2. Unless it's Guardian Galaxy, then there's 5. For some reason.
Infinity War, where there's 1, right? Wasn't it just 1 at the end?
Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was just 1.
Surprising.
And I stayed. They tricked me and made me stay around. But yeah, and just so we have a claim of reference, no spoiler, but this is set before the Infinity War, so you get a little gap of where Ant-Man was when the Infinity War was going down. All right. Well, that's our time. Again, put your philosophies down below. What you think about the movie. Also, don't forget to like our page, subscribe to our page, like this video. You can also check out you can also check out us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we have just set up a Twitch, so we'll start streaming some of our gaming philosophies on. So check us out there too. All right. Geek Philosophy, Geek Way of Thinking. Have a great day, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you for stopping by Geek Philosophy. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, put your philosophies in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of all future videos. Thanks for stopping by Geek Philosophy, the Geek Way of Thinking.